I feel like being financially free is one of the things that has been most spoken about in the past year. Everyone talks about how, they just moved to the UK and they bought a house in 2 years, or they've started their dream jobs, or they're working for themselves, or they're making this and this amount of money, stuff like that. And it makes you wonder if those people have two heads. It makes you wonder how they did it, and it makes you wonder why you haven't done it yourself. So I want to share my story and how I've been able to go from being broke, quite literally flat broke, to being financially free within 1 year, because I know that this is something that a lot of people are looking forward to doing. Now, if that sounds like something that you want to watch, then you should definitely keep on watching. Hi guys, welcome back again to the channel. My name is Oyiko. I would love to have you over here, so please do well to hit that subscribe button down below to join this family. Share this video with everyone who cares to watch it, and without further ado, we're going to jump right into the video. A little backstory if you guys don't know me. My name is Oyiko. I'm a medical doctor and I moved to the UK in the winter of 2021. And I've been now living in the UK for over 2 years, just over 2 years. And I've been able to take myself literally from scratch, from ground zero, from not having money to rent a house, to now being in my own place, now having my own money, and now being responsible for myself in just about a year. I know that this is something that a lot of immigrants struggle with, because in the beginning, it's very tough. It's very tough to find your feet. It's very tough to know what you're doing. It's very tough to understand the systems. It's very tough to wrap your head around what's happening. And I've been documenting my processes and how I've been figuring things out. Remember when I was coming to this country, my husband and I, and the reason I don't mention my husband so much is because this channel is not about him, and I don't want to make it about him. I just want it to be about me, you, and us. But I remember when we were coming to this country, my husband and I sold literally everything that we had. We saved up all the money that we had literally from when we started working, because our sole aim when we started working was to save up enough money to be able to come to the UK as doctors. My husband is a medical doctor. I'm a medical doctor. But my husband currently doesn't practice medicine, both in Nigeria and here, because he has a hospital in Nigeria that he manages, and he does something quite similar in the UK. Every money that we worked for, every income that we made, every savings that we had was dedicated towards this Japa journey. And I've even made a video on my channel talking about how much it cost me to move myself, just me alone, from Nigeria to the UK as a doctor. So if you guys want to watch that video, it's on my channel. You can just search for it and watch it to know the exact numbers. By the time I came to this journey, I remember this very, very vividly. All I had to my name was about £500. That was how much I used to come into this country. And that amount of money was supposed to last me for about 6 weeks before I get my first salary as a doctor, because I didn't start working in the beginning of the month. I started working in the middle of the month, and that meant that I would only be paid at the end of the next month. So I didn't even have any money for my rent. I didn't have money for anything extravagant. All I had money for was transportation and food, literally. And I couldn't even afford to buy anything fancy. I could only afford to buy food that I was going to cook so I could meal prep and take to work. And if I didn't meal prep that day, then it simply meant I wasn't going to eat lunch at work. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because everyone tends to start from scratch. Everyone tends to start from ground zero. And the important thing is your mindset. Remember when we were coming to the country, we didn't even have enough money to rent a place, so we had to come in phases. I came first and my husband came afterward. And I spoke to my cousin at the time, who I literally just met for the first time, asking her if she would be happy to accommodate me for a few months until I find my feet. And I was so shocked because prior to then, we hadn't even met each other before. But she was willing to do that. She was willing to accommodate me. And she did accommodate me for about 6 to 7 weeks before I moved out of her place into my own place. That was after I had been paid my first salary as a doctor working in England. So let's talk about the steps I took that took me from being broke to financially free in a year. Because in that same year, you guys know, and if you watch me on this channel, you would know that in that same year, I gave birth to my daughter and I didn't even qualify for maternity pay. So I had no money, no significant income for the time that I was on maternity leave. And because of that, I could only take about 3.5 months of maternity leave. I want us to just talk about how my husband and I were able to save, how we're able to prepare ourselves for that rainy day that we saw coming, bearing in mind that I started working in January and I gave birth to my daughter in August. So between January to August, I was able to get myself some sort of financial freedom to enable me go on my maternity leave without being scared of no income during that period. I hope that makes sense to you. Anyways, what are the practical steps that I took to make myself financially free? The first thing that I did was that I just shifted my mindset. First of all, I'm no longer in Nigeria. I'm now in the UK, and these are my circumstances. I pointed everything clear. I am pregnant at the moment and I'm due to give birth in August. I'm not due for maternity pay by the time that I'm due to give birth, so I need to have a safety net. I spelled everything out and I made an active plan to achieve that. So how am I going to achieve that? That was the question in my mind at that time. How am I going to achieve financial freedom by the time I'm due in August, so that by the time I go for my maternity leave, I'm not scared. The time I go for my maternity leave, I'm not worried, because at the end of the day, I know that I have a safety net. So the mindset was the first thing I did. Abundance mindset. Not thinking like, oh, I'm going to be poor, or I'm going to be broke, or I'm going to struggle. Because again, there's power in the tongue. So the abundance mindset is the most important thing. Your point of view creates your reality. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you think to yourself, oh, I'm going to be broke, or I'm going to be struggle, or things are going to be tough, things are going to be difficult, then things will be difficult. Things will be tough, and you are going to struggle because you have proclaimed those things with your mouth into the universe. So abundance mindset, positivity, and having the right spirit is the first thing that I did to be able to take myself from point A to point B in this journey. Second thing I did was living within my means. I couldn't afford a place and I had to stay with my cousin, and I did that for a few weeks before I was able to rent a place. And when I eventually rented a place, I didn't say, oh, now I have my salary, I'm going to move into a 3-bedroom house, even though it's just me and my husband. No, we didn't do that. What we did was we moved first into a studio apartment because we're trying to cut our coat according to our size. And you know that I used to live in London, and London is quite an expensive place. So even then, my studio apartment was quite expensive, even more expensive than some of my friends who lived in 2-3-bedroom apartments in the Midlands or up north. But I didn't mind, because what am I going to do? My job is in London. Am I going to quit my job and go up Midlands to look for another job? Do you understand what I mean? So we're going to stay in the studio for a few months, or till I'm heavy and I'm almost due, because the studio apartment didn't let us have a child. It was in the rules that children were not allowed in that place. So I knew that by the time I was heavy, I needed to leave that studio apartment into a better space. That was another step that I did. I cut my coat according to my size. I cooked my lunch to take to work. I didn't buy lunch thing. I made sure that every day I would meal prep, pack my lunch for the week, so that I don't have to think about it that morning or that afternoon when I'm going to work. I just grab a plate of the lunch and take it to work. Second thing I did was to take public transport everywhere I was going. At the time we came in, we knew we couldn't afford a decent enough car, so we didn't purchase a car. And good enough that we were living in London, and the transport system in London is very efficient, so we didn't necessarily have to purchase a car at the time, and we were happy to take the bus and the trains wherever we needed to go, which was more economical for us at the time, because it was just me and my husband. We didn't have any children to worry about, and we could manage with public transport. So we didn't say, oh, now that I'm in the UK and I'm earning in pounds, I must buy Benz, I must buy Lamborghini. That's not what we did. We decided to delay the gratification, take public transport as necessary, and keep it moving, because that was what was going to help us save more money. You know, same thing as eating out all the time. That wasn't practical. Just how, I mean, we cooked almost everything we ate, and we only ate out occasionally, and maybe to celebrate something or something like that. Not that we were eating out at every given opportunity. And I know that it's particularly difficult to do this, especially with the dawn and the wake of social media. Everyone on social media seems to be living a very flamboyant lifestyle. Everyone on social media seems to be doing big things, but there you are not doing big things. There you are living in a studio apartment. There you are taking the bus. Meanwhile, your mates are driving Benz. But you know what you're doing, you know where you're headed, and you know what the end goal is. So please just don't compare yourself to anyone on social media. Everybody's journey is different. You know where you're headed. They know where they're headed. We all know where we're headed. So there's no point comparing yourself to them. Okay, that is another thing that I think really, really helped, because I know a couple of my friends actually had bought cars immediately they came in, but was that practical for me at the time? I didn't think so. So what good would it have been for me to compare myself with them and say, oh, they have cars and I don't? You understand what I mean? So don't compare yourself with anybody. The next step would be to budget. You guys have seen a couple of videos I have on my channel about how I budget and how much money we spend as a family in England, because budgeting is a very, very integral part of trying to achieve financial freedom. You don't just spend lao. You're not Otedola, you are not Dangote. So please give yourself brain and spend according to your pockets. So what I did was to make a budget and try to stick to that budget as much as possible. First of all, I even took out savings that I was going to save, non-negotiable. This is X amount of money that has to be saved, come what may. That was my approach at the time. Another thing was to actively save, and I've made a video talking about how to save and invest as a new immigrant in the UK. So if you want to check out that video, I would strongly encourage you to do. I'm going to leave it linked up in the card so you guys can see. But saving and investing was something that I did very actively. Once my money comes out, immediately the portion that is going into savings goes, the portion that is going into investing goes, because I don't want to hear stories. I don't want to hear stories, and then I'll make do with whatever's left. And if that's not enough, then too bad. Do you understand what I mean? Too bad if that's not enough. But that was the approach that I took. I was very, very aggressive with saving and investing. Also, I didn't buy things I didn't need. So it's not because, oh, I live in the UK now and there's H&M here, there's Primark here, there's Shein here, that I will now be buying everything that they're selling. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way I did it, okay? I wasn't trying to impress anybody because I knew what my end goal was, okay? And although I didn't do this one in particular, I think in monetizing your skills or any skill set that you have would be most ideal. So for example, if you bake, monetize that baking. If you sew, monetize that sewing. If you make hair, monetize that skill. Lots and lots of people monetize their skills, and it increases the margin of money that they have available to be able to save, to be able to invest, and to be able to live a generally more comfortable lifestyle. So if you have a skill that you can monetize, be it social media, be it YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the skill that you can monetize is, please monetize that skill, okay? Do what you can do, monetize your skills. And last but not the least, and most important thing is, you would then realize when you reach a certain level that money isn't everything, and there's a ceiling to how much money can truly make you happy. Because at the end of the day, after that point, what do you want that you can't get? And then you realize that money is not everything, and there are more important things in life than money. Just don't beat yourself too much. Take it one step at a time. Don't compare yourself to anybody on social media. Nobody has everything figured out. Everybody's just bamboozling everybody, or most people are just bamboozling everybody. Most people who you think they have everything sorted and everything figured out, they most probably don't. And social media is a facade. So please take it one step at a time. Don't kill yourself. Just take it easy. Take it easy. And if you do all these things, you will eventually get to a point where you are financially comfortable and you are financially free, and you can make decisions about money without being scared. You can go to buy groceries without thinking, is my card going to bounce? You can go to shop for your children without thinking, I don't want to spend, can I afford this? Stuff like that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.